Hello everyone and welcome back to my top 100. Today we're going to be going through from 30 through to 21. These are some great games. Let us know which is your favourite and let's jump into the list with number 30. My number 30 is a game that is, in my opinion, the perfect amount of chaos and programming. It's Colt Express. Now there are many expansions for Colt Express, from the tiny little time-travelling DeLorean through to a second train. But you don't necessarily need those. The base game is phenomenal and they just add extra stuff, awesome stuff into the mix. But even the base game of Colt Express is just cowboys robbing a train in the best way possible. So there's not turns. On a round, everyone's going to be playing cards in order, but you're playing them onto a pile. So you're looking at your action cards, which are maybe go up or down, left or right on the train, shoot someone in that you can, not in a direction, but if you're sort of in a carriage, it's the next carriage along or the previous one. You maybe are picking up loot, and you're going to want to do that. Move the sheriff, which is going to disrupt things. And you're looking at your actions, and you pick one, and you play it on a pile. So the next person does, and you go through all of these actions. Then you turn the pile over and act them out. And all of a sudden, the chaos really begins, because where you thought someone was going to be, you were going to be punching this person. They're not in the same carriage as you anymore. You thought, I can sneak past the sheriff and grab the briefcase, which is worth $1,000, which is a lot of money for the heist. Most money wins. Someone moved the sheriff back. So when you tried to go into the train, the front of the train, you jump down, the sheriff's there, he shoots you, you jump back up again, and your plans have been disrupted. And it's all this chaos of you've programmed what you're going to do and then it all unfolds. But you do have a bit of choice. You can see someone else has done something different and it's moved where things were or people were. Well, maybe instead of going left on the train, you can go right and different things like that. Each character has different abilities. Some rounds there will be cards that are played face down and secret. You don't know what anyone else has done. It's just a lot of great fun. It really captures robbing the train as everyone's trying to make the most money. What a game. What great chaos. It's just a standout game, and that's Colt Express. My number 29 is, well, a little bit of chaos to be fair in this one as well, as in Galaxy Trucker, you are in two phases, building a spaceship, if you want to call it that. It's more of a sort of pile of junk that's been plopped together, trying to deliver these items and get points and not just be completely destroyed. Because in this game it's two-phased and not everyone's going to like it, but I really do enjoy this. You're speed building your ship. So everyone has just a standard board. There's loads of boards you can get with different shapes. You start with like the little hub and then you're grabbing pieces. This bit's just a bit of pipe, but that allows you to put this bit of piping on with, it has a gun, but that gun's great, but you need this energy and you're trying to grab these tiles which are initially face down in the middle and you're trying to squeeze them in, build your ship. So you've got guns over here and then you realise, I haven't got any guns over here, but I've got a shield that if there's something coming from the left, but I don't have a shield from the right or from the front. I haven't got any boosters. I need some rocket engines. Oh crikey, right, yeah, got some of those. And then you've as quickly as you can built your ship. You've said you've done it, so everyone else has only got limited time now to finish theirs. You're first in the queue. That's normally a pretty good place to be. And then, I forgot, I've only got one storage place. I'm not going to be able to get many resources and transport them. Let's see how this goes. So you've built your ship and then you try and get around this sort of these events as you're going around this board. And, well, the events are mostly there just to screw with you. Maybe an asteroid is coming down and you roll some dice. I think it's dice. You roll that and it's coming down on column 7. Everyone looks, oh, I've got a gun there. I can power it with this energy. I shoot it. I'm good. The next person doesn't, so that crunches off a bit of their ship and you eventually have like half of your ship fall off, but you've still got a little bit of a habitat and some guns and an engine over here, and you're just hoping you can get to the end. It's not a game that you should go into expecting to win, to do good, because it's sort of the experience and that fun of the journey rather than getting to the destination that's the fun part. Your ship can completely go, but you'll have had a lot of fun in Galaxy Trucker. On the last list, I said I had blobbed some games together, and I've done that again here as Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated is the full title, and very excited for number 2 on the way. That is, for me, the best Clank experience I have had, as me and my wife played through this rather epic legacy where the board changes, your deck changes from, well, it's a deck builder. In the game, you build up, but you can then also tweak it. So at the start of the next game, yours isn't just the default deck and stuff like that. I don't want to give out too many details, but we really enjoyed that. And the way in the Legacy game, you read bits from the book. There was lots of reading, but we really enjoyed the story that it built up. And deck building goodness is always good if, in my opinion, it's used to do something. I still like Clank. I do want to try Clank Catacombs because I feel everyone seems to be saying that it's just like Clank +1. So very much want to try that. But at the moment, for Clank in Space as a whole, I've put the Legacy version on there. That will probably drop down, but hopefully Clank Catacombs would then boost it back up a little bit on this list. But deck building is something for me where it's really enjoyable. Upgrading your deck. Oh, I can trash this card. I can get these new cards, cycle my deck. Oh, I'm now drawing my hopefully better cards and so on and so on. Spending the coins that the basic cards get you to buy better stuff. But deck building's great like that, but when it's actually used to do something like in Clank where you're moving through this dungeon, hopefully trying to get as deep down as possible to grab a really good treasure and then get out again. Really, really enjoy the use of deck building in Clank. And the Legacy game just took it to the next level. Really enjoyed it. That's Clank Legacy. Number 27 is my favourite game of the trilogy, and that is Century Spice Road. So yes, Eastern Wonders and whatever the other one was called, A New World I think it was, those games were good and they kind of basically were similar-ish. It's all about, in Spice Road, using your cards. In the other ones it's maybe like places that you're going to get cubes, upgrade cubes, maybe downgrade cubes but gain more, and then eventually trying to sort of fulfill a contract of cubes. Yes, there's supposed to be different spices. No, they are not spices when you're playing. They are 100%, oh, I can upgrade my red cube to a green cube, which I think is supposed to be like saffron to cardamom, but that could be wrong. Anyway, the gameplay of Century Spice Road is the perfect amount of, okay, I want to play this card because that will allow me to get these cubes. But I've already played the other card that allows me to then turn those cubes into something better. So if I do that, next turn I can rest, gain all my cards back, and then hopefully go again with this sort of little engine that I've built up of cards. You can look down the market and go, well, that's a really good card, but is it worth me spending a load of cubes just to pick that card up? No, I'll wait for it to slide down the market where it's a bit effectively cheaper. And then you're looking at the goals. Okay, that needs a load of brown cubes. They're really hard to get, but it's a lot of points. Whereas this one is just a load of red and yellows, but it's a lot of them. I've got to spend some time to either get a lot of cubes or upgrade some cubes. Your cards are helping you. I'm saying cubes a lot because that's basically all this game is. Cubes and cards, and it's great. Century Spice Road. My number 26 is a game that I think is probably the only game in my collection I have twice, and that's just because I haven't yet sold on the old version, and this is Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders is one of the best drafting games you can get because it works so perfectly from 3 all the way up to 7. Because drafting is simultaneous, which means it doesn't matter if that extra person wants to play. It's not going to change the game length. And you've got these great production cues. I said it for Anno 1800 quite a way back in the list, but I really like the production cues where it's like, okay, in Seven Wonders, I've taken this building in round 1. Now in round 2, this card comes to me. Well, I could use the resources. I don't have the wood, unfortunately, so I'd have to pay my neighbour for wood. But actually, because I built this building in round 1, I can just play this card for free. And it's all about the sort of, you're looking at your cards going, I want this. But they really want this card. I can't almost afford for them to get it because it's going to probably score them a lot of points. Maybe I use it to build a wonder, effectively burying it. I could sell it and get some coins. Maybe that could help me because I'm low on those. Maybe I just play it because I can and it's kind of good for me. It's just maybe better for them. You've got the parts where, do you go for military? Do you care if your opponent stacked up loads of military? No, it doesn't matter if they beat you by 1 shield or 10 shields. They're still only getting the same amount of points and you're still only losing like 1, 2 or 3 points. So it doesn't matter too much if they're massively stacked on military. There's still a lot of points to lose throughout the game. Maybe I should pick that 1 shield up now and that'll stop this round losing. There's just a lot of choices. Now, the first time you ever play, make sure you don't let someone take all the science, because we did in the first game and someone literally got basically as many points as everyone else around the table added together. But to be honest, some of the other routes to victory can get you stupid amounts of points too. If you just got loads of the blue point scoring cards, wow, that's going to score you big. Then come in the expansions. Throw in leaders, cities, I haven't played the other 2 yet, Armada and Edifice, which I'm extremely excited to play the latter, the Edifice one, because I just think that's just a perfect little amount extra that you can almost always include. And yeah, Seven Wonders, a great game that's in the collection twice. It will at some point only be once, but what a game. And the backs of the new cards, so shiny. Gotta love them. That's Seven Wonders. My number 25, I found this a little bit with the list when I've been making it. Similar games do bunch together, and there's just something so amazingly cute about Sushi Go Party. It's another drafting game like Seven Wonders, and as much as I love Seven Wonders, I can't always get it to the table because it's just got those production cues, which I love, but sometimes the people I'm playing with don't always like that. Sushi Go Party is just that slight step down that means you can get it to the table easier. And when the fact you've got like cards where it's like, I'm taking the miso soup. If anyone else takes it, I'm not getting points this round. Miso! And then someone else says it as well, and you're like, oh no, neither of us get any points. It's just a bit more light-hearted. It's got the fun colourfulness of the sushi cards. And the party version just takes it to another level. Now, could the Edifice and Armada expansion take Seven Wonders higher than this? Probably, but I've not played them yet. Sushi Go Party has all of these expansions just in the core box because you've got all of these other types. Whereas the base game of Sushi Go has I think it's just the 8 types. So you've got a number of different types of sushi, a bit of dessert, maybe, I don't know exactly what's in there because I've got party, which means I can swap this dessert in for that dessert. And I can then, let's take out this type of special. So instead of having the wasabi, now we've got chopsticks, which allow you to hold on to it and then discard it for 2 cards in another turn, and different things like that. There's sake as a promo where it's a load of points, but the next card you have to blindly take because you're drunk from the sake. It's just a lot more light-hearted, it's slightly easier to get to the table, and that's why, well, it's both are great games, but that's why it's just edged Seven Wonders, and that's Sushi Go Party. My number 24 is an amazing dexterity game that really does look very visually different from a lot of the others, and this is Catch the Moon. Now, I don't have the brand new version, which has a slightly different cover, but otherwise it's effectively the same game. You've got this cloud in the middle with a couple of these crookedy ladders poking out of it. On a turn, you roll a dice. Now, normally I'm against dice, but this is such a light-hearted, easy-going game, and it doesn't always matter what the dice rolls. Normally, everything's going to be bad for you. So one of them is you can only touch one ladder. One of them is you have to touch 2 ladders, and the other one is you have to be, the thing you put on, the new ladder you put on, has to be the highest. Now, as the game goes on, that's not always the easiest to do any of them. Sometimes it's easy to put one ladder on. Maybe the next turn round, it's well, there's nowhere good for me to literally just be touching one. Everywhere's going to be touching 2 ladders. And you're trying to balance these on in this crookedy structure that's almost certainly going to collapse at some point. Sometimes it's you add one this side and something falls off that side and you're like, how? And it's because there was some weird ladder counterbalancing through it. Now, we've got sort of good enough at this game that we actually had to come up with some extension rules because we've run out of ladders. We just had created this structure quite often now where it's not perfectly balanced, but we're just so careful about balancing things that we had to come up with the extension rules of, on your turn when you roll the dice, you then have to take one off, and that's then the ladder you add. And even that just makes it even more fun to play Catch the Moon. So it's one of those dexterity games that's just super simple. You can teach it in 30 seconds, and you can have a lot of fun with it. And you can actually get quite good at it. Even in the rulebook, there's some names for certain ones where it's you hang it at an angle and it's called a special angle hanger or something like that. And it's interesting to read those. It's more fun when you actually manage to pull some of them off. But yeah, overall, a lot of good dexterity fun. That's Catch the Moon. My number 23 is another legacy game. This is probably one of the chillest legacy games, and that's My City. Now, there is a way to keep on playing it. I think it's called the Eternal board. Unfortunately, we didn't really sort of gel with that part too much. I kind of wish we had, because the My City experience was absolutely brilliant. It's a polyomino placement game where you're not allowed to make this building cross the river. You can't cover trees over because they're going to be scoring you points. You can cover them over, but they'll score you points if you don't. There's stones that you want to hide up. Because otherwise if you don't quite, but then all these polyomino shapes are hard to fit in and you're trying to get blobs of this colour building, that colour building. And then you've played that game And then every few games, something new is added. Maybe it's a new sticker you add to your board. Maybe the winner gets a slightly different sticker from the second place, third place. Maybe the fourth place gets like a bit that helps them. Maybe they turn a bit of that mountain that you can't do anything with. Maybe they turn that into a little bit of grass. That means their board is slightly different from yours. Maybe they've got a tile in their set that's got a special symbol on it that's going to be doing something. Now, I don't want to explore that too much because it will spoil what was a really fun, pleasant legacy game where things just slowly evolve and change. And yeah, it was one of those legacy games where it was just like, right, let's play for half an hour. We can play one game of it. And then in a couple of games' time, we'll have got a cool unlock that just tweaks things slightly. To be honest, I can't remember who won or lost, but I can remember we all had a lot of fun playing My City. Extremely excited for My Island to come out later this year and the Roll 'em Right version, because that feels like one that you'll actually get some replayability out of. So really excited to play both of those because My City was fantastic. My number 22, I know, I say a lot on these lists that I don't like dice, and dice hate me. Well, Sagrada is kind of all about the dice, right? It's got this brilliant look to it as you are creating this stained glass panel out of dice, but they are super colourful dice, so it really does look visually rather pleasing, to be fair. And you can then score from numerous different ways. You've got your own special colour that you're trying to get maybe a little bit more of onto your window that other players don't know about. There's expansions for it, but the base game is perfectly good enough as you're drafting these dice. Now, it's a really nice system. I call it an ABBA system. It's like A, B, B, A. So I take one of the dice, then the opponent takes two, then I would take one again from the pool of 5 dice. So there's one left over, and that's going to help you track what round it's on. And you can have more than 2 players, so you could have it sort of going round the table, then back round the table to you. It just means that if you're first, you get the first pick, but you're also going to get last pick. It also means if you're the last to pick around the table the first time, as it then reverses the order, you're effectively getting 2 dice, and you know what's available. So you can go, okay, I'll take that one and that one because they work together. Whereas maybe someone else before that goes, well, if I take this, it only really scores me points if I get that one as well. I don't know if it's going to survive back to me. So really good choices from the drafting. And then there's some powers. So you've got these like stones, they're like clear glass stone things that you can effectively pay to use these powers. Maybe it's to rotate a dice from straight over. So from 5 it goes to 2, which allows you to place it on your board because there's some limitations. Some of the spaces are like one colour can only be here, maybe a number can be here, and then the rest you're free to place, but you can't have the same number or colour next to each other. So it's a really bit of a puzzle. You can manipulate the dice to some extent. I do wish that you could use those powers a little more freely, but then it's still pretty high up on my list, which shows you how much I enjoy Sagrada. And last but not least on this part of the list, my number 21 is a fantastic social deduction game. It's one that, out of all of them, it's the one I've played the most. It's the one that I've got some really great memories with different gaming groups playing the Resistance Avalon. Now, I've not played the original Resistance, but I don't really want to. I've got Avalon. It's effectively the same from what I can tell, but Avalon's got all the cool powers. One person's Merlin, they know a little bit of information, but they don't want to give away too much because their bad team might know they're Merlin. Yeah, that's bad. You go on these raids, effectively, these challenges where you want to pick all the good guys because then it will pass. But if a bad guy creeps on, they can fail a task. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, so we went on the first one and it was successful. You guys went on the second one and it failed. So, well, you two, you clearly were on the good side because you passed the first one. So you must be the bad guy. Obviously, in a social deduction, that's what the bad guy maybe wants you to think. Because they were on the first one and they passed it. Ooh. Bluffing, brilliant, special powers. It's a lot of good fun. I haven't got it to the table too much recently, and that's because I think the Resistance Avalon really does require at least 6 people. It can work with less than that, but that's a really good starting point for this, because that allows you to then get a few more powers into the game. As you sort of increase the player count, you can throw in some of the roles where it's like, you're a bad guy, but you don't know who the other bad guys are, and different things like that. And then you get some other bits like Excalibur, which you can use late in the game, and you're like, okay, I'm giving you Excalibur. You have to literally tell me secretly, but no one else gets to know, if you're a good or a bad person. Now, I see you're good or bad. I can then tell the table. Are they going to believe me? Oh, the brilliance of social deduction, the bluffing, the sort of lies, the sort of giggling inside because you don't want to give it away. Well, the Resistance Avalon is a great choice for that sort of game. And like I say, that wraps this sort of part of the 10 up. Please tune back in for the top 20, which is coming up hopefully relatively soon for you. And let me know, out of the games today, what deserved to be on the list, what didn't deserve to be on the list, what should be number 1, what should have been at least much higher or much lower. Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe for the rest of the list, all that jazz. See you next time.